Good morning. It's Viewpoint, a program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. The program where the views of some of the hosts are his and his alone and cannot be attributed to WLCN or Jim Ash, the station manager.
It's a sad thing when one has to begin with a disclaimer.
Put a disclaimer in once in a while, just to make sure that we cover.
That's
it's
like
called CYA.
That's like all the what do you call them?
What do you call them?
Oh, casinos have the ads on the radio, and they say that you should come to the Lucky Duck Casino, and on and how wonderful it all is. And then it's followed by, of course, if you find yourself in trouble because you've been coming to the Lucky Duck too much, you call 1-800-STUPID. And my daughter had an opportunity to call that number for a client.
Really?
Oh, yes. And they said yes, they could help him, and they would love to do that. All he had to do was to come to Chicago during their work hours, their office hours. Now, that does a lot of good to anybody that doesn't live in Chicago. Right? Welcome to Illinois. We've managed it.
The whole subject just choked Judy up a little bit.
It did. Hairball.
I got to thinking, Judith Kay and Jeb and Dustin. Unfortunately, we had to give up our pool at the park this last summer due to the conditions that nobody had any control over, namely money, and they can't do what they need to do out there. Hopefully, within the next year, 18 months, we will have a very nice pool out there. They got one on the drawing boards. But the point being that that has created a void in activities for a lot of little rugrats and some of the bigger rugrats, too. It occurs to me that Roy and Marcia and the staff out there at the rec have done a doggone good job of trying to come up with creative ideas to involve the little folks in the community, since they don't have, in lieu of the pool activities. So maybe a doff of the fedora to them for their thoughts and their efforts in that.
Yes.
Now, we went into some subject matter that's pretty serious here in our community, and I'd like to have you introduce our nice guest this morning, Mrs. Busby.
Well, because his group has an answer to a problem for lots of people. Dustin Fulton is the minister at Jefferson Street Christian Church, and I don't know, did you get the short straw, or did you ask to be the spokesman for Together for Lincoln?
Well, it's his idea.
It was either go around and talk about it or be the one to organize it, and we got people that are very good at organizing behind the scenes and don't want their faces shown, and so I said, well, I'll go talk about it if you guys do the hard work. And so,
but correct me if I'm wrong. This is kind of your birth child, isn't it?
Well, no, it really was birthed within the community. A lot of it came from our youth. A lot of times our youth lead the way in stretching us in healthy ways. And back several years ago, there was a project in Lincoln called Mission Lincoln, where 4 area churches got together, and basically 1 week out of the summer, they'd go around and help people out with physical type of projects. And as a result of that, a lot of the people got together. A lot of the adults said, hey, maybe the adults ought to be doing this too. And that started, we started off with getting several churches on board, and Together for Lincoln was birthed out of that. And we have had 4 project service days, 4 annual project service days. This year will be our 5th. In 4 years, we've completed over 400 projects, including 50 wheelchair ramps. That we did our 50th wheelchair ramp this year, and that was really cool.
That's a bunch.
Yeah, it is, and especially for we got a crew that goes out and does that, and they do that year-round, basically, whenever there's a need, because, if someone's in April or May and needs a wheelchair ramp, we can't hardly say, well, we'll help you out in September. That doesn't really seem like the best solution. But we've had about 3,200 volunteers in the course of those 4 years, and we're gearing up for our work day on, we moved it to a Saturday this year. We're looking at Saturday, September 29th, and we're looking forward to trying it out on a Saturday and seeing if that works a little better for everybody, and we'll help out with churches as well to get more churches involved.
Well, that is so great, and it's such a good idea. I'm so glad that whoever the people are behind the scenes decided to take this up. And because I'm not 29 or even 39 anymore, my days of putting up siding or sheetrock are kind of over, don't you know? And so I can still participate and do. The last 2 years I had gone to nursing homes to visit because some of the people don't have a lot of family around here, and they can use somebody just listening to them for a while. I even took my dog last year, and they liked that.
Well, we didn't count him as a volunteer. We're going to have to up our volunteer numbers now.
His name is Murphy.
Murphy. All right. We'll have to have him sign the disclaimer, too. We'll give him a paw print and
there you go.
call it good.
I might add that that hospital or nursing home visitation sometimes is a tough, deep road to hoe. I went out last year to call on a gentleman, and it was pretty much a one-way street. I mean, he was off in his own world, and it was a tough assignment. I think I'd have rather been on a ladder painting somewhere.
Well, we were hoping to get you and Judy in a siding project and see if you guys have a nail gun war and just have it out there. That'd be quite entertaining, I think.
I'll be willing to do that.
We'll hand the nails up.
I just want you to get your committee together and decide whether you want this siding vertical, horizontal, or lateral. Diagonal. Yeah, whatever. Because we'd be willing to do it. I want you to know, too, though, that I have quite a reputation at work for being basically clumsy, so you might get 2 disclaimers.
Well, I decided after the first year that I would have to put some caveats on my volunteering, because the first year I went out there and they put me up at the top of a ladder painting, and I got to thinking at the age of 84, I don't know whether I have any business up here on a ladder painting, so I quit that. And we went for lower altitude jobs.
Hey, that's great. We need all kinds. We need all gifts. This year we are going to need some more handymen. We have expanded this year into offering a weatherization for homes, and actually our weatherization applications are complete. We received a $10,000 grant this year from the Energy Assistance Foundation out of Decatur that's going to go completely towards weatherization projects in Lincoln. And so that's been a huge blessing, and we've had 37 applications come in for weatherization projects, which, you know, $10,000 goes pretty quick over 37 projects. So we're still looking to see how we can continue to increase funds as well for Together for Lincoln. Right now we're about halfway towards our goal of $34,000. $34,000 would allow us to do all the projects that we have lined up right now. If we don't get that amount, then we'll have to cut back on some projects. But we're confident that we're going to be able to do a lot of work this year and really help out a lot of people. The great thing about the weatherization projects is that we're really not only helping to improve their house, but we're also helping to save them money over the long run, as they're going to be paying a lot less for different projects or different bills throughout the course of the year, providing a safer environment for their family as well, helping to cut down on medical bills and things like that happen because their house is drafty or whatever else. And so that's something that we're really excited about.
One thing I'd like to ask, Dustin, Aunt Mary lives out here on the other side of town, and Aunt Mary's circumstances are pretty small, economically based. She's not doing very well, thank you. But she's got some problems with her house. I heard about this. How does Aunt Mary, or whomever it might be, get on the list to be considered to have some work done around her property or his property?
Yeah, we have different applications that can be filled out. The one that Aunt Mary would need to fill out would be the home improvement application. And right now, the home improvement application is available. You can download it at togetherforlincoln.com. You can get it at many of the area churches that are participating in Together for Lincoln. The State Bank of Lincoln Walmart branch also has applications available, as well as the Oasis Senior Center. Many different places around town will keep them community action as well. So what they need to do is, the deadline right now is August 22nd. That's 2 weeks from today, and they can fill that out, and there's instructions on the bottom of where to send it into. Our P.O. Box is 501 here in Lincoln. Just send it Together for Lincoln, P.O. Box 501 in Lincoln, And that's the best way to get the projects in. Or you can, again, fill them out all online. You can either download an application, print it off, or now you can go online and you can fill it out completely online and submit it immediately. And so that's something that we want to encourage people to do, not only those who are in need, but also to look around for people who see a need around them. One of our slogans has been, we want to take this from a day to making it a way of life. And we want people to recognize that there's oftentimes, especially with the senior generation, they're afraid to ask, or they don't want to ask because they have worked so hard all their lives, and now they find themselves in tough times, and they want to be the people to help, not to be helped.
Yes.
But we just really want to help knock down some of those stereotypes and say, hey, we want to be the people to help. And if there's someone that you see that's in need, whether it be a family member or a neighbor, or whether it be someone that you've just known all your life and know that they're in need, please feel free to take an application over to them, help them fill it out, and submit it on their behalf. I think that'd be a great thing to do, just to help to see the needs of the people in the community and to help reach out and meet those needs.
Now, do the people of Together for Lincoln then buy the materials to build the 51st ramp, for instance?
Yeah, that's one of the questions on the application, is whether the people will be able to help financially or not.
Right.
Oftentimes what happens is that people might have the money to be able to buy the materials, but not to complete the project, not to hire somebody. Again, we're not trying to take any money out of the pockets of anybody in Lincoln, contractors. In fact, we have a lot of contractors who come in and volunteer on that day, because we can all drive around Lincoln and recognize that there's a lot more work that needs to be done that people simply can't afford to have done.
Yeah.
And so we're very thankful for the contractors who partner with us and who give of their time and efforts, and many of the local businesses who contribute to this as well. We buy all of our products in town. But to answer your question, what happens is there are a lot of people who might even have the products already bought and just haven't got them put in, and so we'll just provide the labor. There are other people who need both the labor and the products associated, and so we'll do it that way if that's the case. Obviously, it all depends upon the amount that we have available to be able to spend. But that's been something that it's really a faith-based deal, and God's worked it out for us where we've always had enough, to pay the bills at the end, and that's because God's provided, but it's also because God's worked through people in our community to be very generous towards us as well.
Well, you have quite a turnout of volunteer labor for this. They've traditionally met at the park, and it's been a pretty good crowd. Tell me where you're meeting this year and how a person signs up for the other end of the equation, that being a volunteer.
Yeah, everywhere that has the home improvement applications that I listed before also has the volunteer applications. If you're online, the easiest way to fill out an application to volunteer would be to go to togetherforlincoln.com, and you can fill it out right there all online and submit it. You don't have to print anything off. If you do want to print off an application and mail it in, that would be great as well. Or you can go to State Bank of Lincoln and all those other locations that I mentioned before, and they have applications available. A lot of churches will have a sign-up day where they challenge everybody to sign up there, and that's a great thing. Just check with your pastor. And if your church doesn't happen to be on board with this just yet or whatever else, it's always tricky with pastoral turnover and everything else that happens in a community. Go talk to your pastor about it, see if we can get them involved. Or you can always volunteer on this day, even if your church doesn't happen to be officially participating as well. But we have, like I said before, we have all types of different needs, everything from visiting folks in the nursing home to building wheelchair ramps to painting on down the line. And so if there's something that you're particularly good at, then we'd encourage you to do that. We also have a lot of people who are getting groups together. I know that the Rotary Club is working on getting a group together as well. We have a group from Lincoln College who Bill's mighty fine, proud of, and everything else that's going to be volunteering this year. A group from Lincoln Christian University that's going to be helping out. And if you have a group that would like to get involved with, what we'd ask you to do is go ahead and print off some applications or get some applications for your group, turn them in together with a note on them that you'd all like to volunteer together, and that'd be the easiest way to help us to organize that.
That would be true. Now, did you move it to Saturday thinking that if you didn't get all the siding up, that you could finish it Sunday afternoon?
That was one of the considerations. What we recognized is that a couple of factors in there. One is that, different churches have different service times on Sunday mornings. They get out at different times. Thank goodness, otherwise the restaurants would all be packed at the same time, right?
Yeah, right.
True.
But what we have is that made it difficult to have a standard start time for the project day. And some churches weren't too keen on working on Sundays, things like that, and that's okay. Those are all things that we recognize our differences and celebrate those differences. So we thought that coming and trying on a Saturday instead would be something where we could have a standard start time. We would have all day Saturday instead of just working, starting at half the way through 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. And so some projects will probably need to start earlier than other projects. Some projects will be, if it's a washing windows type of project or cleaning gutters, it might not take that much time to do, but will be one that can start when it needs to start.
Now, you mentioned a couple of small things, and they may be small in that sense of the word, but to the person who's receiving the service, it's a real big deal. Washing windows. Some great little ladies or some older guys out there that simply cannot physically do that anymore.
Right.
And so it's a real assist. Cleaning gutters. Lord knows everyone has to have that service done. That's a big deal for somebody who cannot do it themselves.
Yeah, I was on a project last year where we cleaned a gal's gutters, and really they were newer gutters. There wasn't a lot of leaves in there. We showed up to the house. There wasn't even a tree in the yard, and and it probably only took about an hour. And it was one of those things that we were thrilled to be able to do it, and she was thrilled because you could tell she was just worried about it. She wanted to make sure it got done, and wanted to protect her home and everything else. And so it was an absolute blessing to us. And sometimes the people that we're serving, bring us out lemonade or cookies or something like that, and so it's just a real blessing all the way around. I think it just shows the best of our community when we can get out and serve one another. We're not concerned about whether the people that we're helping are in church or not. We're not concerned, how they vote on, election day or whatever else. We could really care less about that. We simply want to help people in our community and show them the love of Christ.
And this is such a beautiful way to do it. And you talked about Mrs. Gutter Lady being so grateful and happy. It makes the volunteer who's cleaning the gutters just as happy. It really does.
Absolutely.
If you haven't tried it, folks, it's a real nice outlet and a good way to spend the day.
I'd like to, before we're going to take a commercial break in just a minute, I believe, but before we do that, Dustin, I might, if I may, make a comment. We mentioned getting online for applications. I would vouchsafe say that probably 90% of those who may need some help have no ability with a computer or have a computer in their house. So it's important that they know where to go for applications for this, and perhaps the Oasis would be as handy as any.
Yeah, the Oasis is one place they can go for applications. Community Action has had applications. State Bank of Lincoln at the Walmart branch does have them. So when you're checking out at Walmart, you can go right through State Bank of Lincoln there. They've got a sign up and everything for Together for Lincoln, and you can just go there and get some applications. Or you can stop by partnering churches. I know at Jeff Street we're open Monday through Thursdays at normal work hours, and we have had several people stop in already, and many of the partner churches the same way for them.
Well, at this minute then, we're going to get our engineer, he's going to leave the camera work and go to the console and the control board, and we'll take a couple of minutes for a commercial or two.